Two men from Yemen who are on the FBI's terror watch list were arrested at the U.S.-Mexico border this year. One was arrested in January, the other one late last month. Both are being held in federal custody. Joining us now is Alfonso Aguilar, president of the Latino Partnership for Conservative Principles. Alfonso, welcome back. Great to see you. Most people we know, no doubt, come to the U.S. seeking a better life, but as we just mentioned, there are people like these two men from Yemen who probably didn't have the best intentions coming over here. How do we find a balance?
Well, it's difficult. And these are just two cases of people that we were able to detain. Possibly others have been able to go through the border and enter the country. Our enemies are looking at our vulnerabilities. And certainly right now, our border, they're seeing vulnerabilities at the border. And that's why we're seeing people like that trying to go through our southern border. I think you have to strengthen border security. What President Biden has done, I think it's irresponsible. I know we want to be welcoming to immigrants, but you can't do it by dismantling common sense policies at the border that ensure that our homeland is protected and dissuade migrants from coming irregularly to our southern border. A lot of people in Central America are looking at the policies from the President Biden, and they're saying the border is open. He wants to receive us. And they're making this very dangerous trek, which a lot of people are victims of violence, theft. Women and girls are victims of sexual violence. There's studies that show that perhaps up to 60% of women and girls are victims of sexual violence. So we don't want to encourage that. And it used to be the policy of the United States that we would send a clear message to Mexico and Central America that nobody should try to enter illegally to the country or make that dangerous trek to the border. But we're seeing a major shift in immigration policy where we're basically signaling to people in the region, come, at some point we'll let you in.
Yeah, and another thing really concerning too, there's been a lot of talk about human trafficking. What can you tell us about that?
Well, that's one of the biggest concerns. What we're seeing with this massive movements of people, it's easier for traffickers to move people around. And we see human trafficking of women for the sex trade, but we also see child trafficking. That's why, Cardinal Sarah, who understands the issue of migration, he's from Africa and knows what happens with migrants moving to North Africa to cross the Mediterranean to get to Italy, has called this massive migration that we're seeing in different areas of the world, he calls it a new form of slavery. And that's precisely what we see with human trafficking. It's happening in very large numbers, and these massive movements of people facilitate the trafficking of children and women. Either they enter illegally, sometimes they're actually even children are given to federal authorities, and federal authorities have to process these children very quickly, and often they turn them to adults who say they're relatives in the U.S., but it turns out that they're not relatives but traffickers. So this is very dangerous. That's why we want to have operational control as much as possible of our border.
Alfonso, I want to talk a little bit more about the children. We only have maybe less than a minute left, but I do want to get to this. Recently, we've seen some very concerning images of really young children literally being dropped over a border while we're being abandoned near the border and crying for help. What can be done about this?
Well, it's a tragedy, but this will continue. It's not going to get better if we do not strengthen securities at the border. We have to expand the construction of the wall system. It dissuades people from coming here. People are desperate in some countries in Central America. These are economic migrants. And if we continue to send the message that, you're welcome to come here, they're going to keep on coming. And the message from the administration is don't come now. And that's not a strong enough message for a lot of people in Central America, they read that as saying, at some point, we're going to let you in. So they're going to keep coming in because they're going to think, let's go right now so we can get in line until they finally can open the gates and let us in. It's a very dangerous situation, but the only answer right now is to step up border security.
Yeah, and hopefully we get this under control. Thank you so much, Alfonso. Alfonso Aguilar, president of the Latino Partnership for Conservative Principles.